Hello. I purchased Activity Book Mastery over the weekend and I've had a chance to try it out. So I would like to show you what is on the inside so that you can make a decision about whether it's right for you and your business. So this software is geared towards people in the puzzle and coloring space. It's marketed as activity books for adults, but I would say that the tools that you can find in here would appeal to all ages. Some would be more adult focused than others, but you can create a wide range of things with this software. So when you log in, you'll see there's quite a few different menu options. In the first section, there are some instructions, and I'll just kind of scroll through there. There's a video about activity books. That's about 13 minutes long. There are several videos on using the software, so it basically shows you demos of all the different things that you can do. Some of these are on the sales page, but this kind of shows you all the different features here. It also gives you some tutorials on publishing a book, how to put things together using Canva, how to create a title page in Canva, how to merge PDFs and create your covers and get set up in Amazon KDP. So there is some training here if you are brand new to doing this sort of book. There's also some tutorials on working with different graphics and more coming soon, and a Facebook group that you can join. So first up we have kaleidoscopes, and this is probably the coolest feature of this software. So I loaded up a variety of different types of pictures. You can only make a kaleidoscope out of one picture at a time, but it will allow you to load up to 6, and then you need to start replacing them. So I loaded up this rooster picture, and you just need to choose the file from your computer and say upload, and it'll load it up into this section. So when you want to activate the kaleidoscope, you just go. And now as you hold and drag the mouse, you can create all sorts of things with this. And if you go in and out crossways, you get one effect. If you go up and down, it does different things. You could do a combination of those things. So, and when you see something you like, you can stop. So I think using a colored image in here could create some interesting effects for making covers. And then we click here to go back. What I think would be actually quite useful with this, I loaded up just a simple mandala that's already existing. And now I can change this mandala, so you can create several variations from existing mandalas. So I think that is pretty cool. And that's probably, I think, the way I would go with this, is to use an existing mandala to create several different variations just from one. And that would be perfect if you bought some with commercial rights, because you could change it up and have many more versions of it just from the one purchase of a mandala pack. The thistle, this one did not work out so well, so I was trying to see what would happen with colors. Again, this could create some interesting effects for kind of cover designs or, colored in patterns. You could also, if you found a pattern you liked with this, run it through Photoshop and convert it to grayscale. But I think this, this kind of creates a bit of a floral look. So it does interesting things, but probably more useful for decoration than for actual activities. And then just for kicks, I loaded up this image from Pixabay of these different cute little animal line drawings to see what that would do. And that actually did some interesting things too. So you can almost make it look like the rabbit's face, and then you can kind of take it so that it doesn't really look like anything at all. So I really like the kaleidoscope feature. So let's move on to the next thing. We've got Picture Slice. And this is something also that I liked. This is something I've not seen in any other software, so I think that's an advantage. So let's choose that same animal picture. And there are some things to note. So in this particular section, your image must be a JPEG. So let's load up that line art. I believe it was this one. No, this one. And we will upload. It gives you the option to slice it into different size squares, and then you will get either a zip file of the images or the PDF. So let's just look at the PDF to see what that looks like. And this is the kind of activity where you need to draw what you see in the square in the appropriate square down here. So this is something I see more in kids' books than adults' books, but I think you could use some creativity to create something for adults as well. Maybe a Zentangle type of doodle that you could recreate in the squares. So that is the picture slice. Layered images. I think this is one that you really need to play around with. You'll note this one takes a PNG file type only, and I think different images are going to have different results. So again, you really need to play around with this, but I think the purpose of this is to create kind of a patterned color page. So I had these pictures of animals, and you can see this doesn't do anything for me. And I experimented with changing the layer density, and it didn't really make a difference. It loosened it up a bit, but it's still really not useful, this particular image. Now, I think if you have something that's more of a very simple pattern, you could create an interesting page out of this. So I took some crosshaired, and this made something a lot more interesting out of it. So I think this is something that could be useful, but will take a little bit of experimentation to find the right image to use. So next we have seamless images. And this also needs to be JPEG only. So let's find that same crosshairs. Let's see. Oh, I need to have JPEG only, so I can't use that. So let's try the animals. So this is just a very simple pattern, and again, you would need to choose wisely the image that you use as a source. Because what it really does is it takes the images and it reflects it, and then it reflects it downwards. So you can see that this image here, these 4 animals, have been flipped, and so you see them again here, almost like a mirror horizontally, and then they've also been flipped in the vertical direction. So you could create an interesting pattern out of this. This is probably not the best picture to use as an example, but this would create a simple pattern just based on reflections. There really isn't any way to do any sort of variations with rotations, so this has maybe some limited use. Comic templates. So there are 4 different templates already loaded, so you can generate a book out of this. So you just need to click on it and then tell it how many pages you want, and it will generate a PDF with that many pages on it, or you can download it as a PNG and you can work with it in the software of your choice. So going back to the comic templates, there's also a speech and thought bubbles pack that's included, and there are more templates coming for this. Mazes. So there are 6 different types of mazes. So we've got the typical square maze, and then sort of a circular maze, diamonds, and then some interesting ones down here that are a little different than other maze generators I have seen. The thing I like about this as well is that you can choose your quantity of mazes. I've worked with some maze generators where you have to do it one at a time. So the ability to do multiple ones, I think, is very useful. And so let's click go. One thing I noted that there didn't seem to be any option to adjust the difficulty of the mazes. I also did not really like the dots in here. but I'm thinking you could probably do some manipulation with Photoshop or similar and get rid of those dots, either erasing them or taking it into something like Illustrator or Affinity Designer and just doing an image trace and then getting rid of the dots. But other than that, I think it's nice that you can generate multiple ones at the same time, but I think a limitation is that there's no difficulty in there. So trivia, this is part of the upsell, and I did not purchase that, so we will skip over that. And then paper games, we've got some more puzzles in here. So we've got a word search, and again, you can generate up to 200 puzzles in a PDF in one go. It has words already loaded, so you don't have to worry about word lists, but it's completely random. So you're probably going to end up with stuff that's maybe not suitable for kids' word searches, but more for adult word searches, because as you can see in the sample, we've got lots of large words in there that kids wouldn't know. So it does give you the puzzles and the solutions in 2 different PDF files. So you would have to merge these together. So as you can see, we've got just this random set of words. So that's the limitation of it, is you can't do any sort of themed word search, but if you want to do just general word games, that would definitely be a good way to create multiples at once. We also have a Sudoku generator. Again, you can generate up to 200 puzzles at a time. This one you can actually generate different levels. So let's go here, and you also get the puzzles and the solutions in separate files, and it tells you the difficulty. So if you do pick mixed, it will label it with the difficulty on it, so that is good to know. And then finally, we've got Hangman, which just generates a Hangman page like this. Again, you can generate a document up to 200 pages, as well as just basic tic-tac-toe up to 300 pages. And then there is a substantial help section here. So we've got some resources and some frequently asked questions. So it gives you some ideas of how to do various things. A lot of these are covered in the videos that were in the instruction area. So that's a look at Activity Book Mastery, and hopefully that gives you an idea of whether this would be a good addition to your resources for your book business. Thank you.